Hello and welcome. In today's exciting episode, we'll be looking at my green handmade Chanel style jackets.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
So I have been hand making these jackets for about 14 years, and there are 20 that I've decided fall into the green category. Some of them are only green because they have green beads. But anyway, we will start with this absolutely gorgeous, very classical Linton tweed from Linton Tweeds in the UK. And it's a vintage style silhouette, and I've used an Italian silk for the lining. It's a Pucci print. It's so gorgeous. And yeah, it's really classic. What I love about this is this particular tweed is so 1960s, and then the Pucci print on the inside is actually it's kind of the opposite side of the 60s. So I love that the interior and the exterior of this jacket are just so completely contrasting. But sometimes I look at this and I think, because this is one of my very early jackets, so the beading isn't the most complex, but I don't know. So sometimes I want to take the beading off and the beaded trim off and redo it. But other times, I don't know, I quite like it the way it is. I like that all my jackets are so different and you can see the progression of my beading and embellishment skills. Okay, so yeah, that was one of the first ones that I ever made. And this is one that I made last year. This is my baby Yoda jacket, because it's green and beige. So the tweed itself is a really nice mix of wools, a little bit of cotton and some ribbons in there. It's beige and mint, but also really pale blue, white, sort of pale gold. It's the most gorgeous tweed. And then I was like, but I can add to that. And I over beaded it. At first it had about half the amount of beads it has now. And then I decided I'd double down, and because I still had a lot of beads left, because one of the reasons that I embellish them so much is that I'm trying to use up my bead collection, which was a year ago. It was 11 boxes of beads, so it's quite a lot of beads. So I like the little jade ones and everything in that. And this is this actually has a twin, this jacket. I think I'll show you both of them at once, just so that you can see, because this tweed, it's another Linton tweed. It came in two different colorways. So this one you can see is green and green, whereas the one in the back there on the side bench is it's pink, mauve and green. So yeah, I like them both. So, and then there's an oatmeal base. I like them both so much. This one has much heavier stones, polished stones in the trim. There's also some plastic beads, some hand blown glass beads, those twisty ones, and the leaf. They're all hand done glass beads, and also some glass pearls. Such a nice mix. And this one, I guess you could argue that it's the same, but a slightly different beads, but the same type of mix. It's got some polished stones in there, some hand-blown glass. These pink ones look so much like candy. I think one of the reasons I love those glass-blown beads so much is that they look like you could just eat them. They look delicious. And so they're sort of the same, but different. If I wear one on a Tuesday, then I'll often wear the other one on a Thursday, just because I love them both so much. But they are very different in their own ways. But I love both of them. I couldn't do without one. I love having both of them. And next we have, this is my Monet one. So if you saw the last month's collection video of my pink and red jackets, I've got a pink Monet, which is That's just what I call a different jacket, but this is the actual Monet one, because Monet's water lilies, he has this palette of really, really vibrant pastels, and that's the sort of colours I used in this. First, I did the bugle beads. Bugle beads are the longish ones that look like little straws, and I did all of those, and I sort of beaded them over particular very vibrant pastel colours, the bluish aqua, the yellow and the pink. And I did that, and it did look gorgeous, but it looked like there were these spots in between for, you could put thousands of other beads there, or hundreds and hundreds. So I did. And I did the orange one first, if you know, have been following me a while. And then I did this one. And I love this jacket so much. And normally when I'm beading, I make a point, if I'm using all different types of beads, I make a point of never doing noughts and crosses correctly, like never having 3 in a row of anything. But this is the only jacket where I have 3 in a row of quite a few things. So there you go. You get a little bored when you're doing hours and hours of beading. So then next we have, this is one of my old ones. It's grass green. It's actually a couple of different greens with white flag in there as well. And then it's got a thick beaded trim, and there's also a fringe of the grass green tweed around it. It's a little hard to see, so I'm not sure whether it was worth it. I consider it worth it because it sort of looks really nice around the edge of the beaded trim. But it was I made this such a long time ago, and I was so proud of it when I did it. But now, I don't know, I think the black, because when you make a beaded trim, you use a netting base and then you sort of stitch everything else onto it. So, and I used a black base for this one because that was the only thing I had at the time, and I really, really wanted to start the trim. So I do regret that. I wish I'd used a white or an ivory. And this has bridal silk as the lining. Bridal silk is just, normal silk is expensive, but bridal silk's even more expensive. But that was a little remnant, and I was able to get like 1 yard. And I used it on this, and I just love it. It's so luxe. I love it. It's beautiful. And I really like the way that it turned out. I do a lot of thick trim now, but that was the first time I did anything that thick. And this is one that I made a year ago, like at the start of last year, in February last year. It's I just like it because it looks like cabbage. It's sort of white and green, but I can't decide how to bead it. I do there's one that's pink and green. So I'm thinking maybe I'll put pink beads on this, maybe. But I also have this, I had this 1 yard piece of lace that I cut up into just embroidered flowers. So I've got like a couple of hundred lace flowers. And I thought I might stick them on with beads. So I'm not sure whether I'll do it cream and green or pink and green. Okay, next we have another multicolored one. So the one on the right of these two is the Monet, but 6 months earlier, Linden Tweed did this white and multicolored tweed. This was the original of the multicolored on plain base. And I much prefer the other one. I've got 3 jackets out of that tweed, but this was the original one, and I made it up into a jacket, and I absolutely loved it for 6 months, but then the other ones came out, and I just love how I've made them up. But this one, I guess I decided that I wanted to do something different, so it's got a Peter Pan collar. And I love all the beads and the vintage sequins in this. They're amazing. But I just don't think it suits this jacket. So I keep threatening to take that off, pull it apart, and redo this jacket somehow. But I haven't done it yet, obviously, because that's a lot of work. But I think now that I finished all the other jackets that have this style of tweed, I think it's time I did this one. So I think, yeah, I think I'll sort of do like the Monet one, but maybe in bright colours. Maybe. I'm not sure. When I first made it, I did wear it quite a bit, but yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think I should keep things just because they're different from everything else in the collection. Anyway, here is, oh, this is one of my mohair ones. Just like those twin ones come in two different colorways. This I also have in a blue colorway. So it's blue and cream, whereas this one's pale green and cream. It's just the most beautiful fabric. It's absolutely lovely. And then I've beaded it with green beads in a different color. Sometimes it annoys me that the beads are too sort of bright and vibrant for such a lovely pastel tweed, but other times I just love it. So yeah, I've left it as it is. It is one of my very early jackets, and I don't know, it's just a nice piece of history that you get to wear. And it's really comfortable too, because the heavier the beaded trim is, the more snugly your jacket sits on you. It sort of hugs you around the back and on the yeah, it's just really beautifully fitted, and I like it. It's lovely. So next, I'm not very critical of some of them because I just like them so much. This is another early one, and it is made out of a quilting cotton from well over a decade ago. And it's a William Morris print or motif, and that thorny tulipy sort of flower. And yeah, I just think it's so pretty and understated. But then I put a layer of sage coloured tulle over the top so that it sort of diffuses the print on the cotton even more. And then I over beaded it with these bugle beads in a sort of emerald, silvery emerald, metallic emerald. And yeah, I just love it. I usually just wear this in spring, summer and autumn because it's not the warmest coat. It's yeah, but it's great for summer, like garden parties and things like that. And yeah, it's just, I did the beading freehand. I just sort of did one strand at a time, and it took forever. But it was really enjoyable, and I keep meaning to do more jackets like this, but I haven't because, I mean, there's so many types of beading that I love to do. Okay, and this is actually the first tweed jacket that I ever made. The tweed is a European tweed. I think it's Spain it came from. And it's just a bunch of all different ocean colours. And I just love it. It's like it's got driftwood in there or seaweed and, all the waves and gorgeous ocean colours. And then I just because I've got more green beads than any other beads, I decided to use up some of the green beads on the trim. And if you see the trim, it is just the plainest, simplest trim, literally, of any jacket that I have or any surviving jacket. And yeah, I mean, I could undo it all and redo it, but I don't know. I like that it's a little bit of history and it's just so simple, and this is how it all started. And it's such a lovely tweed as well. Like, I mean, it is, for a long time, it was the only tweed jacket I had. So it is very, very well worn, but it's still holding its shape remarkably well. Okay, next I think I'll show you one that, this is an Italian tweed. It's just wools. Most of my tweeds are quite complex and they've got all different sort of things in them. I've only got a few that are just wool, and this is one of them. It's got three main types of wools, and they're twisted together. So there's a blue, medium blue and dark blue twisted together. There's a mustard one that's twisted with something else, and then there's a sort of khaki hunter greenish. And I could never find the right type of beads for this. Sometimes I absolutely love that it's got these very green beads, and other times I absolutely hate it and I want to take it off and put khaki beads on there. But I've left it because, again, I don't know. When I was first making my jackets, I was like, each jacket has to be as perfect as it can possibly be. But now I'm just like, I've got, 80 to 100 jackets. I want all of them to be different, and I want to love each one for different reasons. So yeah, now I think I'm a little less controlling about what they should look like and what perfection is. But I love this tweed. I haven't finished this for, I don't know why. Some jackets, I don't know. I like leaving them a little bit undone because, I don't know, it's just such a gorgeous tweed. I love it. It's sort of ribbons. I love the green ribbons in this. And then the blue bits they look like denim, but they're actually a ribbon. So yeah, I have to finish that one. This one is finished, but it doesn't have any beading yet. I love this because from far away, it just looks like an autumn mess of, a pile of leaves or something. But when you get up close, it looks like an aerial shot of a forest or something. Like there's a deciduous tree, then a pine tree, and then a burnt out old ashy tree. I just think this is it's just weird and unusual. It's got these sort of troughs in between it's just a really unusual tweed, and I love it. So I was thinking that I'll bead in between the little troughs, maybe just do an all over beading, but I'm not sure because it looks beautiful the way it is. So yeah, I haven't beaded that yet because I can't decide how to bead it. Okay, so now I put all the ones that I've showed you in the back half of the rack, and I've moved some of the brighter ones to the front half of the rack. So yeah, and there's also my Gucci one. I'll show you that last, but I'll show you a few bright ones first. So we have this neon tweed. This again is a Linton tweed. A lot of my tweeds are either Chanel tweeds or they're from Linton in the UK, which is where Gabrielle Chanel got a lot of her tweeds when she was making Chanel suits. So it's navy and it goes so well with my Valentino Rockstud handbag. I only have one Valentino handbag, so gotta get it in there somehow. So it's neon on a cream and navy base, and I just love it. It's such a weird, quirky mix. And then I used green beads on it. I keep threatening to take the green beaded trim off and do a new one in neon colored beads, but I haven't done that yet. And here we have my favorite Chanel tweed. Well, for a long time, it was my absolute favorite Chanel tweed. It's such an unusual mix. I don't normally classify my khaki greens with my regular greens just because I have so many greens that I can have a separate category for khaki or khaki, however you pronounce it. But this is a Chanel tweed. I only have a couple of dozen of them, so I love them even more because they're so hard to get and it's so rare, and it's so hard to come by. But yeah, it's mauve, sort of shiny ribbony bits, and then the neon yellow and khaki. It's a couple of different khakis. So it sounds like it should be absolutely terrible. And to some people it is a hideous mix. But to me, I don't know, I just love this tweed. I love it so much. I did make it a long time ago. And I don't like how big and blobby some of the mauvey coloured beads are. So I do think at some point I will take this apart, probably use most of the same beads, but do it better because my skill level is so much higher now. I think I'll add I've got some Japanese frosted glass neon yellow beads as well. So I think I'll add them in there. Next, we actually have a couple more Chanels. I'll show you the pink and green one. So it's two different greens as well as pink. The pink is dragged through paint, the yarn. That's what gives it that amazing effect. And I put pink beads on it, I mean, they're nice enough, but I don't like them. I would wear it more if it had green beads on there. So I'm thinking I'll take these off and I'll put green beads on there, sort of transparent green beads in that brighter of the two greens, I think. Just all over beading. I think that's what I'm going to do with this jacket. Just because I love this tweed so much, and at the moment I don't think it works. I do think this plain green would look adorable with pink beads, but this one needs green beads. Yeah, just so that it can showcase the tweed better. Okay, next we have an all-over beaded tweed. This is a Chanel style tweed. It's metallic. The base is metallic silver, which is so unusual, and it was incredibly hard to work with. It just, as soon as you cut into it and cut the pieces out, it just started fraying, because it's basically just, there's a few white and black thin cotton threads to hold everything together, but it's mostly the metallic silver and the flagged with the little bits of ribbon that look like grass. And it was just so difficult to work with, but completely worthwhile because I love the finished product. The jacket itself, before it was beaded, was beautiful because the tweed was so lovely, and I just didn't wreck it with doing too many cuts. It's a nice simple silhouette. But then once I over beaded it with all these beads, again, I think I did half the amount of beads and then I over beaded it again. It's supposed to look like a grassy field with wildflowers, naturally sown wildflowers sprouting all over it. And it does look like that to me, but I can totally understand why other people don't get it. But yeah, I'm so proud of the way that this one turned out. It made me go on to embellish even more jackets all over with beads. And yeah, I have, last year I used up so many beads. It was awesome. But also, they don't just look like I'm trying to use up as much as possible. I feel like it does look creative and artistic, but of course I'm going to say that. So we're nearly to the end. The last one I'm going to show you is the Gucci jacket, but before that we have, I think this is definitely one of my favorite Chanel tweeds that I made last year. So it's an actual tweed, Chanel tweed in orange, fluoro yellow, fluoro green, and mushroom and grape. It's just the weirdest mix of colours, this tweed. And then I was going to do all the beading in use beads in oranges and yellows and sort of make it the same. And I did start it that way, but it just didn't look right. It looked like someone else's jacket, not mine. And then I took all that off very carefully. And then I decided to just do green beads because green is my absolute favorite color. And I love this jacket. I got so much. When I posted it, it was very polarizing. Some people liked it. Some people hated it. Other people were like, I can appreciate the technique, but wow, that is not something I would wear, which is kind of the point. I mean, I'm the only person in the world who has this jacket and who will ever have this jacket. And it suits me perfectly. So yeah, I think this is pretty close to being a perfect jacket. I mean, obviously, if I'd had more beads, then I really would have liked to have done ridges on the side. So thick beads in the middle, thinner beads at the side, and then even smaller beads so that it looked like the back of a crocodile or an alligator. I think that would have been absolutely awesome to do the sleeves that way. But I mean, I'm trying to use up my beads. And these were all the green beads that I had. So this is kind of the way that it had to be. But yeah, I'm so happy with it. And this is the Italian silk lining. It is the most beautiful. I've got a couple of, with the Chanel tweeds, I always do one of the super expensive Italian silks on the lining just because I like them more. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way that one turned out. And lastly, we have the Gucci tweed. I just call it Gucci green because that's what it looks like to me, but it's actually a Linton tweed. It's one of their luxe tweeds. It's green, and then it's got that yarn drag through paint. Is the green. In my other jackets is pink, but it's green. And then it's also got that sort of dark blue bit is actually teal cellophane. Like, yeah, it's just the most amazing thing. But yeah, so I made it up into a plain classic vintage style Chanel jacket, and I was going to do a beaded trim for it, just a classic navy blue to match the lining, or something like that. But then yeah, or maybe in green, dark green. But then I don't know, I just decided to bling it up. There's some novelty sequins in there, regular sequins, vintage sequins that are hand pressed in Italy. I've been hanging on to them for so long, but I'm really glad that I found a use for them. There's some glass beads, some pearls, glass pearls. There's some vintage, sort of 1930s looking Art Deco ones in there as well. Some regular glass beads, some plastic beads, some gold filigree beads, they make the beads flat and punch out little holes in it and then roll it up into a ball. And those ones are from India. And yeah, I think it's such a lovely mix. This is what the back looks like. It's got a few more of those drippy down bits. I'm not sure that I love it, but I absolutely love the front. It's perfect to wear to a brunch because all the detail is sort of round the top. So, and because you sit down at a brunch, everyone could sort of walk past and have a look at it. So yeah, it's a gorgeous jacket. And there you go. That is my entire collection of green jackets, although I'm making quite a few more this month to add to the collection. They'll all be vintage style. So yeah, as you can see, most of them are slim fit, sort of Karl Lagerfeld era ones. I've only got a few of them in this vintage silhouette. I look forward to adding to it with the jackets that I make this month. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed and been inspired to start making your own Chanel style tweed jacket collection.